Where did Kayelyn Louder vanish to? Where did she go? Why was she barefoot and almost naked? Who was she talking to? And what sequence of events led to her ending up in such a terrifying state? If I were to ask you, dear viewers, how many of these questions have answers, don't ponder too long. Because the answer to this question is unknown, and no one, except perhaps God, can know it. This applies to an unknown number of cases and issues as well, with Kayelyn Louder's case being one of them, perhaps one of the darkest and most mysterious.
And now live, Utah. A major search underway for a missing 30-year-old woman who vanishes from her upscale condo without shoes, money, or phone.
Kayelyn Louder was born in 1984, along with her twin brother Colton, to her parents Jesse and Susan Louder in the United States, in the state of Utah. She was universally described as a kind, loving, and engaging person by everyone who knew her. She had an ability to form friendships with people from all walks of life. Furthermore, she was known to be highly ambitious and enjoyed helping others to a great extent. Kayelyn was passionate about animal care, especially dogs, and was an avid reader and skilled equestrian. Kayelyn attended Lehigh High School in Utah and then went on to Utah State University, graduating with a bachelor's degree in sociology in 2006. Based on her education, Kayelyn secured a job as a social worker at a high school. Additionally, she worked as a pet sitter through an online platform, providing pet care services to owners when they were away. Up to this point, everything in Kayelyn's life was splendid across all dimensions. Financial stability, emotional well-being, and overall happiness characterized her life. However, everything began to change when Kayelyn lost her job at the school, followed shortly by her job as a pet sitter. During this time, Kayelyn was living in an apartment with her friend Susanna, a young woman around Kayelyn's age who worked at a beauty salon. Susanna had been Kayelyn's neighbor during childhood and a college mate before becoming her roommate. During Kayelyn's unemployment period, she diligently sought to improve her resume by taking various courses in different fields and continuously applied for available jobs. Unfortunately, all efforts proved futile. You can't live in the United States while being unemployed, and if that happens, you're likely to find yourself homeless, with the pavement as your floor and the sky as your roof. Despite this, Kayelyn lived through that period without any changes or shifts in her behavior or actions. The routine and blissful time in Kayelyn Louder's life didn't last long, as things began to take a completely different turn. It was on September 26, 2014, at 9 o'clock in the evening when Kayelyn made a call to emergency services. During that call, Kayelyn reported a violent altercation taking place in the nightclub beneath her building, hearing screams and gunshots, fearing that someone might have been killed. However, when the police arrived at the scene, the wedding reception that Kayelyn mentioned during her call was proceeding as usual, without any signs of violence or gunfire. Around 10 o'clock that same night, an hour after her initial call, Kayelyn called 911 again, but hung up immediately. As a result, the operator called back, and Kayelyn claimed to have heard strange murmurs or some unidentified noise under her window. During the call, Kayelyn was so distraught that she couldn't even remember her own address. However, she informed the operator that she lived in a house with her friend Susanna, who had asked her to hang up, thinking she was imagining these noises. She also expressed her love for her friend, not wanting her to feel bad or get into trouble because of her, so she complied with her request and disconnected the call. But did the matter end there? No. On September 27th, just one day after Kayelyn's calls to emergency services, around 6 in the morning, Kayelyn made another call to 911. It was this final call that would become the centerpiece of confusion and confrontation in our story. In that call, Kayelyn reported that unknown individuals had entered her home and that she was feeling extreme fear. The dialogue between her and the emergency operator went something like this.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
5584107. I have an intruder at the house.
Repeat the address for verification.
They're stealing from my house.
Okay, say your address one more time. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Marie.
And the phone number you're calling from?
801. Get the out of my house.
And repeat the phone number for verification.
8.
Okay, do you know who this person is?
No, I don't. I just know that there's an intruder in my house.
You don't know who they are?
No, I don't. Please hurry.
Are you at the location now?
Yes, I am.
Were weapons involved or mentioned?
They're not talking or responding. I'm just telling them to leave so I can hear them taking things.
So you haven't seen them, you can just hear them?
Yes, correct.
Are you or anyone else in immediate danger?
I believe so.
Okay, are you able to get yourself to safety?
I just want to answer that while he's here.
I'm sorry, what?
No.
Can you talk freely with me?
Yeah.
Okay, where exactly are you?
I'm in the back bedroom.
Okay. Where did the suspect enter the building?
There's only one door. On the west side.
Okay, where are the possible exits from the building?
There's only one. Get out of my house!
Is there anyone else in the building who belongs there?
Yes, there's 6 apartments.
I'm sorry, what?
6.
There's 6 people?
6 apartments.
Okay, is there anybody else in your apartment that should be there?
I believe she is here. I have a roommate.
Where is she at?
Next door to me.
Okay, I'm just going to stay on the line with you until officers get there, okay? Just let me know if anything changes. What is your last name?
Louder.
And your first name?
Kayelyn.
It's what?
Kayelyn.
Can you still hear them?
Yes.
Where does it sound like they're at?
The front room, near the entrance. It's a small place. Shut up.
Are they saying anything?
Yeah, I heard someone say, hey, go in there, so there's obviously 2 of them. Hey, Karen, lock the door. There's something going on in there. Come here. Yeah. They might have left.
Okay, what's going on now? Hello?
Okay. Think they left?
They've left now?
Yeah. So I'm just going to look and see if anything's been taken. Someone opened the door, and I heard them come in, so
okay.
I know that
Did you know where they went at all?
No, don't do that, Carol. If the door's still locked, it's impossible. They must have a key or something. Because when I took the dog out, I heard people talking. And there was people last night, like, sitting outside the window. And so they, like, were scoping us out or something. Nobody knows about this. Oh, scary. About, like, the fake key? Or the hiding key? Yeah, but nobody knows about it. It's impossible. Well, I took it out. Like, I had it on my person. I swear to God, someone opened the door. And there's actually, like, people like No, Rachel, like, people see me get out there all the time. Yeah, here's the thing. It's fake. Mm-hmm. And then why is the door still locked? Well, I can't explain that, but I heard, like, 2 people talking. Is the officer close?
What was that?
Is the officer close?
I'm not sure where they're coming from. They're on the way. I don't know where they're coming from, though.
Okay. What do you want them? What do you want from them? You don't know what's happening. Oh, the top box. Bathroom. See what in the bathroom? We have a clock in the bathroom, so it's 6. Yeah, I don't know. Right. So if something sticking back, you don't have to, I have to.
And with that, the call concludes, leaving more questions than answers. At 9:30 p.m. on September 27, 2014, the same day Kayelyn Louder made her frantic calls to emergency services in the early hours of dawn, no one knew what was going through her mind as she walked barefoot, clad in a short summer shorts, out of her house into the pouring rain, never to be seen again. Surveillance cameras captured her hurried exit from the house, appearing as if she were chasing something unseen on the camera screen. Then, around 4:45 a.m., she was spotted again, running barefoot from behind a large natural rock formation, as if fleeing from something. In another clip, she was seen at the same spot with her dog. After that, Kayelyn was seen standing behind a silver car, seemingly waiting for someone. Following this, her friend Susanna, dressed in black attire and yellow boots, was seen leaving in her red car for work, as she later claimed. However, this was the last footage showing Kayelyn alive. Initially, Susanna assumed Kayelyn had gone to spend a few days at her family's house, but was surprised to find her leaving behind her phone, wallet, and dog, with her car still parked despite taking her keys. After several days passed with no sign of Kayelyn, Susanna contacted Kayleyn's father, and soon the police were notified of her disappearance. A massive search effort commenced, with flyers distributed both locally and beyond. The family even hired a private investigator to find their missing daughter. However, after 2 months of Kayleyn's disappearance, a river cleanup worker discovered her body in December 2014, submerged under a bridge 6 miles away from her apartment in the Jordan River. Her body was partly floating and covered in debris, making it difficult to ascertain her age or gender through conventional means. Despite the family's efforts to keep Kayleyn's case in the public eye, it took a turn when a journalist published a tragic story from several years earlier, specifically in 2009. On February 27, 2009, Kayleyn's twin brother, Kayelyn Louder, was at their Uncle Jeffrey's house. Later that afternoon, Jeffrey was loading some equipment into his car for a camping trip when a neighbor called the police, reporting a fight between 2 men escalating into a chase. It turned out to be between Jeffrey and his nephew Kayelyn, who was spotted at the end of the street being chased by his uncle before abruptly turning around and firing 3 shots at Jeffrey, fatally hitting him in the back, abdomen, and chest. Kayelyn later surrendered himself to the authorities. The reason behind Kayelyn's actions? Drugs. Kayelyn was addicted to drugs and had been involved in several thefts to fund his addiction. Both the perpetrator and the victim were under the influence of the same substance at the time of the incident, The connections between these events are eerie. Kylie reported hearing gunshots, similar to the incident involving her brother. She also reported intruders in her home, suggesting a possible theft, reminiscent of her brother's criminal history. Furthermore, she mentioned feeling watched from a window and feeling chased while walking her dog, mirroring her brother's actions before committing the crime. From this perspective, many concluded that Kayelyn Louder was suffering from psychosis. However, there's no documented history of mental illness for Kylie or her family. She was a sociology graduate and worked as a student counselor. Even during her unemployment, there were no abnormal behaviors noted until the day before her disappearance. If one were to argue that Kayelyn Louder was also a drug addict, autopsy reports revealed no traces of drugs or medication in her body. At first glance, there may seem to be confusion and oddity in Kylie's call or her recent videos. However, looking at it from another angle, we may find analyses that appear logical, far from assuming mental imbalance. The first call, fireworks. Kylie mentioned hearing gunshots. However, during that time, there was a wedding party with fireworks already present. During the period of anxiety Kylie was experiencing about her future, it's natural to feel accompanying tension. It would be unnerving to see someone tapping on your window in the middle of the night. Perhaps you might scream out of fear, but the calmer you are, the more likely you'd realize it's just a tree branch tapping on the window due to the wind. So, this is a natural reaction to fear. Video footage. Were Kylie's actions normal? In terms of professional integrity, it's worth mentioning that the videos released by the police were disjointed, which is very strange, and I couldn't find any explanation or justification for it. Publishing videos in disjointed segments means you won't be able to see a complete scene of what Kylie did before her disappearance. We can easily overlook the issue of going out in light clothing in the rain because it's clear that it wasn't raining in all the recordings. As for Kylie's dog, it's a small breed. Perhaps at some point it ran outside, so we saw Kylie barefoot, maybe chasing after her dog. On the other hand, we see Kylie talking to herself. But this is not a reason to consider her crazy or mentally disturbed. Normal humans often have conversations with themselves or their pets. Perhaps Kylie was scolding her dog for running away from home. We can attribute the same to her waiting beside the silver car, or she was waiting for her dog to finish its business. Just like Kylie's behavior, there isn't a single clip that shows us the complete events. The family had to wait about 2 months to get the final autopsy results, which stated that Kylie's body had no signs of beating, fractures, or stab wounds. No traces of drugs or alcohol were found in her body. While the cause of death was undetermined, the report suggests that it was due to drowning. And the obvious question now is, how did Kylie end up in the water? The area where Kylie lived is a prime residential area and one that experiences congestion throughout the day. Moreover, it contains many river branches, and waterways between buildings in the city are a common occurrence. It's worth mentioning that behind the building where Kylie lived, there is an irrigation canal that ends in the Jordan River, where Kylie's body was found. The first idea that might come to your mind, dear reader, is that Kylie fell into the canal, and then the water carried her before becoming a lifeless body under the cement arch at the bridge and disappearing there. But let me tell you, unfortunately, that this is one of the most naive and rushed ideas. The falling theory. Before we ask how Kylie fell, we must ask, why did she fall in the first place? The protagonist of the tragedy was a young woman in her 30s, agile and adept. Why would she fall there, and what might drive her to go near a canal on a rainy and gloomy day? On the other hand, does it make sense that no one noticed her? Or to say that no one heard her cries for help or her groans? If we want to say that Kylie slipped and then fell onto something hard and lost consciousness, then drowned and died, we'll see the autopsy report clearly stating the absence of any bruising on her body or any fractures in her bones, which contradicts the assumption entirely. It would be absurd to assume that she was under the influence of a drug or some kind of alcohol. Besides the idea of delusion that we discussed earlier, where it is very difficult for someone to be delusional overnight and then return to normalcy the next day. Suicide theory. A young woman in her 30s finds herself suddenly unemployed and dependent on her friend and family. She spends the whole day searching for work without success, and after this continues for a long period, she decides to end her life by throwing herself into the canal. Immediately, several questions arise. If Kayelyn Louder had died by suicide, how could her body have drifted 6 miles and passed through the narrow bends of the canal without sustaining any bruises, wounds, or fractures? Some suggest that the rains increased the water levels in the canal, making it easier for the body to flow. But the question remains, how could nobody have noticed her disappearance, especially considering the canal cuts through congested residential areas? Moreover, suicidal individuals who own pets typically ensure the safety of their pets before ending their own lives. It's common for someone considering suicide to ask a friend to care for their pet temporarily. However, Kayelyn did none of this, despite her strong attachment to her dog, Phyllis. Murder theory. It's impossible to definitively conclude whether Kayelyn Louder was raped before her death. However, it's conceivable that someone took advantage of the rainy day and Kayelyn's possibly solitary presence on the secondary road. Perhaps this person was the individual Kayelyn was seen speaking with, standing behind the rock, not captured on the garage security camera. This same person might have deceived Kayelyn into going with them, then raped and strangled her before hiding her body under the concrete mass in the Jordan River. You might now feel that this theory is the closest to belief, but I return to you with your doubts, wonders, and questions when you learn that concealing the body in that manner would be impossible without causing noticeable damage to the body. Conclusion. During my research, I came across Kayelyn's Facebook profile and her YouTube channel. I can say that I felt genuine sadness for her tragic end, especially as I sensed in her a kind person who only wanted a quiet, simple life. But not all that one wishes for is realized. Every day, the number of unanswered questions increases. But we, as mere humans, have a period whose expiration we do not know. Regardless of the validity of the delusion theory attributed to Kayelyn Louder, if true, her brother Colton would be the biggest culprit. Colton believed, as many do, that he lives only for himself and his desires, without considering, as many of us do now, that there are people who care for us and live for us. Thank you for joining us on this intriguing journey into the mysterious circumstances surrounding Kayelyn Louder's untimely demise. As we've explored various theories, from suicide to murder, one thing remains certain. There are still unanswered questions that linger in the air, begging for resolution. Now it's your turn to contribute to the discussion. What do you think happened to Kayelyn Louder? Do you have a theory that hasn't been explored yet? We want to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and theories about this perplexing case. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Your support helps us continue to investigate and shed light on intriguing mysteries like this one. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, stay curious.